Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we are going to discuss about educational planning, and in this lecture we will cover the two main topics: the process of plan formulation and the process of project planning. Okay, now first of all, what is meant by broad objectives and target settings? The initial step in plan formulation means whenever you want to make a plan, so it's in its first step, that is of determining broad objectives and targets, means what you are to do, and you are to decide that first. So the socio-economic objectives thus determined indicate the direction in which the economy is planned to move, because any project that depends upon your economic condition, because if you have a good economy, then you can run your project well in manner. The various objectives which a plan normally claims to achieve include increase in per capita income, high level of employment, increase in national income, price stability, rapid industrialization, removal of inequalities, equilibrium in the balance of payments, removal of regional disparities, diversification of the economy, and provision of social services or basic needs such as health, education, housing, water, and sanitation. So all these things are to be kept in mind while making the objectives of any plan and at the initial steps. So not always are these entire objectives consistent. Some of these may be mutually exclusive. The basic idea of planning, that is to achieve the objectives whatever are set at the beginning with the optimum degree of consistency. The identification of broad goals and objectives in plan is followed by the spelling out of general physical targets for the various sectors of the economy. This ultimately becomes the basis for determining the shape and size of annual plans. In survey current economic conditions, this is the next step, because you have to take survey of the economic conditions, because if you are planning something, so the second thing is, after making the objectives, you are to see your current economic conditions, and this step means to take the stock of existing conditions in context of the plan perspectives, such as survey enables the identification of areas where more concentrated efforts are needed for the overall growth of the economy. And for achieving the objectives, we need strategies. Now, the setting of broad goals and objectives, the targets, and the review of current economic conditions that help in identifying the strategy to be adopted to ensure the successful implementation of a plan. Thus, the strategy refers to the specific methods or methods to achieve the plan objectives and targets. So, it also reveals the crucial areas which, if not properly tackled as envisaged in a plan, may lead to its failure. So this is also very important that you must keep or have a good strategy for achieving your objectives, keeping in mind the current economic conditions, because if you have a poor strategy, then your plan may lead to the failure situations. For instance, one of the strategy of the fifth 5-year plan is the need to focus on rapid development of agriculture based on the efficient utilization of resources in terms of what land, manpower and water resources, of expanded and more intensive use of modern inputs, and of the creation of permanent institutions in this vital sector of the economy. The next is the process of plan formulation, means determination of plan size. Once the broad objectives, targets and strategy have been identified, then the next step is to fix the size of plan so as to arrive at the total investment outlay. And regarding this purpose, planners use the capital output ratio or the capital coefficient as a tool. So this ratio determines the capital needed to achieve a given unit of increase in the national income. So for instance, if the capital output ratio is 4 and 1, so it will show that an investment of Rs4 will result in an additional income of Rs1, means 1 rupees. Then in process of plan formulation, the next is financing of plan, means public and private sectors. Having determined the total size of plan, the next step, that is to find the ways and means of financing it to the public and private sectors, because these are the two ways, or you can say the two sources from where we can get the finance. In a mixed economy, the distribution of the total investment between public and private sectors is indicative of the efforts needed on the plan of the government and the private enterprise to crystallize the objective or targets in a plan. So in such a economic system, the instrument of plannings, those are, the first one is direct public expenditure. It means that expenditure incurred by the government for the development of various sectors of economy through annual development programs. So this remains at the end of the government. Then direction of resources. Remember that government always decide the direction of resources in private sectors through various policies and regulations in order to ensure the channeling of such resources in the direction indicated in a plan. Then sources of financing. Because you must know that what are the sources of financing. The sources to finance a plan are of two kinds. First, there are internal sources which are generated within the country, means through taxes, through duties, through savings, borrowing, etc. And secondly, there are external resources which are obtained from the outside the country in the shape of loans, grants, foreign assistance and foreign private investment. Then sectoral programs, means by fixing the physical targets of various sectors of the economy leads to the preparation of detailed sectoral programs on the basis of plan priorities. With a view to evolving a sound and workable plan, a proper balance among various major parts of the plan is essential. So the plan should have consistency and efficiently. So there should be equilibrium between the aggregate output target and the available resources. In other words, we can say that physical targets must match the finance resources whatever you have in your hands. Then mobilization of the resources, like if you have resources, then you are to mobilize. And the success of any plan, that depends upon the mobilization of resources, both in terms of man and material. Because in a plan, man and material always involved for the accomplishment of the objective. So therefore, a plan should specifically identify as to how the required resources will be mobilized to implement the plan objective and targets. Then plan execution is there. Finally, means the machinery to extend the plan at different levels needs to be spelled out. This would clearly indicate the handling of different development activities emanating from the plan by a number of organizations or agencies, mainly in the public sector. One of the basic objectives of development planning is to make prudent use of available scarce resources to raise the standards of living of the common man. It is essential that projects are prepared meticulously, and this avoids the wastage of resources and helps schedule implementation of projects. So thus extreme care that has to be taken at the stage of project formulation, so that the viability of the project from different angles, and those angles may be financial, economic, social, technical, commercial, managerial, etc., may be determined. So the project formulator, he should therefore ensure that project prepared by him, and that is the best alternative to tackle a certain problems and the presence of number of constraints, and involves least use of resources, is sound from financial, economic, technical, commercial, and managerial viewpoints, and has a certain flexibility to adjust to any change which may take place during its implementation phase. In the paragraph to follow, different essential features of the project which should be taken care of while preparing a project have been thoroughly discussed. In process of planning, first of all, in first instance, a project may contain a brief introductory note or write-up indicating its scope, importance, and weightage of the education sector in the development plan being followed currently. So there might be some identical projects having been implemented previously. So problem faced in such a project should be highlighted and possible solutions may be suggested. In background, a few, or you can say a brief reference to plan and policies of the government in respect of the education sector may be made. So the idea has to see as to how far a project is going to an effective instrument to achieve the sectoral objectives and targets, and there may be a situation when a pilot project is initiated before implementations of the actual project. So such details need. Then the project area is there, means the area, this is the area where the project is to operate, may be explored fully as to establish its suitability. And regarding this purpose, different service that may be undertaken for the collection of technical and data wherever we need it. So there are few aspects of the projects regarding you can say project area that may be looked, like first of all, the physical resources. We are to see that what are the physical resources in hand from the land utilization point of view, and a study that may be required to examine the topography of the area, capability of the soil, for instance for agriculture production or irrigation projects, and water availability, etc. And then population and employment, this is the second you can say aspect, and the study of population in the project area, that is to identify the beneficiaries of the project, because this is very important that once you are going to conduct the any project, so you have to see that how many beneficiaries will be there. So such a study that may involve analysis of the size and age structure of the population, density, its urban rural distribution, migration trends, etc. Then physical infrastructure is there, means depending on the nature of the project and prevalent situation with regards to the means of transport and communication, that will have a direct bearing on the operation of project. Hence the need for proper study of the physical infrastructures at the stage of project formulation is required. And then institutions are there, means presence of the supporting institutions will facilitate smooth functioning of the project, and the examination of such institutions is therefore a very crucial area of the before the project is proposed to be located at the particular place. Then objectives and phasing of the project is there, means objectives of the project that may be spelled out in specific terms, and if the specific physical work is involved, that may be clearly indicated with reference to its phasing and time period, because it will help to identify the various project activities and the completion in more logical sequence, etc. Then choice of location, means the production process and size. So at this stage, a project formulation factors like location, production process, size, that need to be studied in depth in accordance with the nature of the project. So however sound project may be, if it is not properly located, it will fail to give full results. Therefore choice of the proper location for the project is of primary importance. So the choice of production process will mostly be governed by the technical considerations. However, natural conditions and involving some factors of production, that will make a difference, a lot of difference. And determination of the size of the project, that will be governed mainly by the volume of the future demand for the product of the projects, and the geographical content of the market, which in turn that will depend on the taste and habits of the consumers. Because whenever we will make the project, so we have to see that what is its demand, and as per the location or geographical areas. Then projects major works and other components, in order to give physical shape to a project. So some major works, essential components, those have to be indicated with maximum accuracy. So these works and activities may be classified like major works that based on preliminary surveys and investigations. Normally in case of big projects, and all major works should be described in full. So ancillary works and buildings are there, by means some of the projects like staff houses and drinking water supply tanks may have to be constructed simultaneously, and these works when connects with some major projects, so they are known as ancillary works. And then equipments are there, means some of the equipments that may be required while doing the constructions and operations of the project, like machinery, vehicles and other maintenance equipment, which should be identified in advance for smooth running of the projects. Then phasing of the work and activities are there, like a project may be spread out for the long time. For the reason project works are split up into different phases, and generally projects are split out phased out on fiscal year basis. And nevertheless, in case of big projects which involves certain loans, proper scheduling and phasing of various activities that included in the project assumes greater significance for the purpose of repayment of loans. So in order to facilitate smooth and timely implementation of the project, so it is necessary to visualize problems which are likely to crop up during the execution phase. So this would bring in more realism in projects at a very stage of its formulation. Then project costs are there, means different projects cost, or as under like capital cost is there, means the overall expenditure on physical assets, and they include the cost of major works, the cost of ancillary works and buildings, the cost of equipments and items of cost which is associated with the support services, and contingencies. Then recurring cost is there. Expenditures, means on goods and services that need to operate and maintain a project, constitutes the recurring cost, and the item included in such cost are salaries and wages of project employees, cost of essential input that is needed for operation the main works of the projects, fuel, electricity, expenses on repair and maintenance of capital items. Then local and foreign currency cost is there, means in some cases a part of capital and recurrent cost of the project, as in the form of foreign currency, a very scarce factor in a country like us, for financing arrangements as well as for sound economic analysis. So this is very important to show separately the local and foreign currency components of capital and recurrent costs. So, phasing of cost, that is also means that capital and recurring cost of the project that may be phased on the annual basis. Such phases will depend entirely on the scheduling of major construction works and on the annual rate of progress of project's operation until output reaches its maximum potential. The phasing of cost in an essential aspect of project preparation as indicates the annual financial requirements of the project to be met during its entire life. Then financing of the project means there could be various resources to finance a project. In a brief, these resources are government resources, grant is there, loan is there, investment is there, direct government expenditures is there, and sponsoring agencies own fund that includes private investment, and also the local body services are there, which are basically the source of financing of the project, and some non-government borrowing agencies. In organization and management, the analysis of different requirements that may be in the form of skilled, semi-skilled or unskilled manpower, which is essential, and along with this positions with regard to the availability of the requisite manpower that needs to be examined. So analysis will reveal as to what steps are needed to meet the project requirements in terms of different types of manpower. About today's topic, and I have given the links below where you can find out the notes of other subjects, and also all these things whatever we have studied in Urdu also, and see and follow those pages for more understanding. Stay blessed, take care, Allah Hafiz.